It is now my pleasure to introduce Trent Stamp, CEO of the Eisner Foundation, which is the only foundation in the United States that focuses exclusively on intergenerational solutions to societal problems. Many of you know Trent as a preeminent thought leader in this area. Some because you know him personally, and others because you've seen him on the Today Show, on Good Morning America, 2020, The Daily Show, or read his writings on social innovation. Trent is also legendary in the nonprofit world for his expertise and best practices for strategic, charitable, and philanthropic giving. And since he joined Eisner in 2008, he has been focusing this expertise on efforts to build bridges across generations, reduce age polarizations and stereotypes, and unite older and younger people around shared goals that benefit individuals and communities. Trent cares about impact, and we are all very fortunate that he does. And now I give you Trent Stamp.
Whoever wrote that, if you work for me, you're promoted. If you don't work for me, would you like to? That was overwhelming. So thank you all for sticking around. I spoke at the Milken Institute conference last week on public health, and there were only 2 sessions at the same time, and they were done at dinner time, and the other one was the CDC director. And then me talking about the health impacts of intergenerational programs. So this seems like a big audience as compared to what we had before. So it's very kind of you. We are honored. Thank you, Ken, for inviting us to wrap up this year's Century Summit with a celebration of our 2022 Eisner Prize winner. After 2 full days of hearing from incredible speakers, learning about new ideas on longevity. It's clear to me, at least, and I think the rest of the people in the room, based on the comments and the tone from previous discussions, that intergenerational connections are and will continue to be essential to a society where everyone can live long and meaningful lives. It's just part of the sauce, and we have to figure it out. As Laura said, the Eisner Foundation is the only US-based foundation focusing exclusively on intergenerational solutions to society's challenges. We made that our focus in 2015, but we had been excited about intergenerational solutions much earlier. We started the Eisner Prize for Intergenerational Excellence in 2011 to explore, highlight, learn from exceptional people and organizations all over the country that are focused on bringing generations together. Our Eisner Prize laureates are incredible leaders in a range of sectors. You've heard from a few of them already during the Century Summit. Mark and Eunice, from now known as CoGenerate. We gave them the prize when they were Encore. So maybe we have to give them another one, or they have to give it back. I'm not totally sure. Donna Butts of Generations United, who you just saw, and Dorinda Schubert, who was here earlier but had to leave from Bridge Meadows up in Portland, Oregon, are a few of our prize winners. If you're not familiar with their work, I recommend that you please become familiar with their work, because they are multivaried, multidimensional, multi-generational, and really at the forefront of bringing our society together. That being said, they're yesterday's news. So I am thrilled to introduce to you a new winner whose mission is just as impressive, and more importantly, their operations are just as impressive. I ask you preliminarily to please join me in congratulating our 2022 Eisner Prize winner, which is an organization in Los Angeles called ONEgeneration. We are incredibly excited to lift up our longtime partners for this honor. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to share a brief video about their work that we had made and that we will give to them to use in their own marketing purposes for their organization. Here we go. Everybody hold your breath. Beautiful video. If it only had sound.
Our programs and services range from our adult daycare to our preschool and child care, grandparents and parent kinship care program. We have nutrition services, transportation, home-based case management services, and of course, our farmers market. The beauty of our organization and our ability to incorporate intergenerational programming within all the work that we do is that we're able to reach a broad spectrum of individuals throughout the community.
Our society often thinks that the very young and the very old are on the receiving end of services. And in one generation, it is the opposite. Yes, they are on the receiving end, but they're also on the giving end.
One Generation has been doing intergenerational work worthy of the Eisner Prize for a very long time. We're proud to recognize them with our 2022 Eisner Prize for Intergenerational Excellence.
Every day we do activities with different age groups of children and our seniors here at the facility. We'll do art activities, games, sensory things with Play-Doh or sand, things that they really enjoy to work on together. And that's the goal of our program, is to get them to bond over these activities, to form relationships. The children have a different personality. They're more patient, they're polite, and I've seen them playing outside and rough and tumbling, but when they come in, they're so gentle and kind. Through our activities, our older adults are able to help the children with projects, and that really contributes to a sense of purpose. Connections that are formed through these generational bonds are just so important. Another intergenerational program that we offer is Grandparents as Parents. This is a very unique program that was very fitting within One Generation's mission and umbrella of services.
Michael and I have 9 grandchildren, and we both know how meaningful and delicious that experience is. There are a significant number of grandparents, however, who are the primary caregivers for their grandchildren.
Given that One Generation has demonstrated over the years that they are truly committed to intergenerational programs, it only made sense for them to bring in a program like Grandparents as Parents, where they can provide access, resources, and advocacy for grandparents who are recently parenting their own grandchildren.
In addition to our adult daycare and child care program, we also like to create intergenerational programming in our community at high school settings with college students. We're doing tech tutoring with them at our senior center. It's sort of blossoming because we're kind of giving them that exposure to what it's like and the benefits of intergenerational programming.
They have a young person come in and sit on, it's more like a family. He has a grandparent, an extra one to deal with.
This is like so much better than I thought it was, because not only am I helping people, but I love that. It's really important that we have communities in here because it makes people feel alive again, so we can help everybody.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for being a part of history, because it's what we're trying to do, make it a better place. I hope you have something around like this when you get my age.
I'm going to ask Jenna Hauss, the CEO of One Generation, to join me for a brief conversation on stage. Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh boy. Hello, everyone.
It's not so bad. I grew up in Oakland. I'm an Oakland A's fan, and when you watch an A's game on TV, all the seats by home plate are completely empty. But then there are people out in the bleachers and up in the second deck. This is very similar to that. I know there are people back there, but all the good seat people except Laura took off. So they must have more important things to do than us. What's that? Oh, well, nice to see you online people. It's good to have you here. Jenna, congratulations. Thank you for the great work that you do. A lot of philanthropists and academics in the room, but we have a real practitioner who gets up every day and runs an intergenerational program. We've been talking a lot in the last couple of days about longevity, the implications, the opportunities of longer lives in the United States. And I'm just curious, how does your work at ONEgeneration, how does it help prepare your community, specifically the older and the younger people that you serve, for that increased longevity in the future? What are you doing that will make it better in the future?
Good question. And I just wanted to thank
Somebody
everybody.
wrote it down for me.
While I haven't had an opportunity to be here both days, from what I was able to sit in and listen on this morning and throughout the day today, has been a breath of fresh air, just to kind of see, the passion on so many different levels, not just from a community-based organizations perspective, but from academics, philanthropy, and the commitment to really enriching intergenerational relationships. So with that being said, our organization's been around for almost 45 years. And the core foundation of what we do is to provide services to support our aging community, those individuals throughout the aging spectrum. About 20 plus years ago, the intergenerational component sort of came to fruition, but historically what we do is we serve our older adult community. And of course, as we all know, the silver tsunami of boomers retiring.
Can't say that.
Sorry. Our baby boomers are retiring.
Donna Butts will come for you if you say silver tsunami.
I'm sorry, Donna. Sorry. But we recognize that the number of older adults that are aging is growing faster than the direct care workers and caregivers that are going to be able to care for them. And being an intergenerational center, I feel it is a responsibility for us in our community to be able to support our older adults by also looking at how we can improve and grow our direct care workforce and family caregivers. I think more importantly now, more than ever before, with a lot of direct care workers leaving the field, looking at how our programs and services can not only serve our older adults, but really bring in a younger generation of direct care workers and family caregivers. So that is one component of what we do from an intergenerational perspective. But there's a broad variety of services that we offer to our community that is specific to the needs that's relevant at that time for our community. So while one area might be different than another for us, we look at how we can bring services into the homes of our older adults and allow them to age well at home, reducing hospitalization and long-term placement.
So ONEgeneration is a legitimate shared site.
Yes.
It's a senior daycare.
Adult daycare.
Sorry. Now I'm in trouble.
No, it's okay.
It's adult daycare co-housed with
Mhm.
a preschool.
Yes.
And as Donna Butts alluded to before, this is just such an obvious idea. And we've done research with Generations United around shared sites, and there's a great appetite for them, but yet there aren't that many of them. And when there are some in a community, oftentimes the community doesn't know about them. Why is that? And how do we build more? If people, if the philanthropists online, and I know everybody from every big foundation is watching online, right, Ken? If they say, I want one of those, how do we go about creating more shared sites?
Yeah, well, we do get asked this question a lot, being an intergenerational shared site in Los Angeles. How can we replicate what we're doing in our communities? Well, the first thing I always direct them to is you need to go to Generations United website and look at the shared site toolkit that Donna has created, because it really gives you a tangible item that you can use to start from the ground up and really kind of assess if your idea of creating an intergenerational shared site is what's best for your community. And that's kind of the next step I tell them, is that you need to do an assessment of what the needs are in your community and determine what's going to be the best approach for you. But even kind of taking it a step back a little bit more, recognizing the intergenerational components that probably already exist within your organization. There are most likely within other community-based organizations or other institutions, a lot of intergenerational activities going on, whether it's from a leadership's perspective or from the clients that we're serving or the community partners that we work with, recognizing that it is an intergenerational, program that you're offering, and figuring out how you can grow it from that point. And then, looking at obviously building a shared site. It's a lot more work that goes into it. But just taking a step back and looking at what's already existing within your organization, what the needs are in your community, and then building off of those findings.
So what are the benefits to a shared site? I mean, we could talk about the literature all day long, but you live it every day. What's good about it?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, like you said, I can talk about, it builds empathy and it allows the increased communication for younger generations who are so used to, screen to screen conversations and building that confidence and communication. But from a personal perspective, both of my children went to the ONEgeneration preschool program. And my daughter, who is now 7, I can say, with confidence that her experience of going every day since she was 12 weeks old till she was 6, has now developed a sense of empathy towards an older individual. It doesn't faze her that she's in a market or in a mall and she sees somebody that may have a medical device, whether it's a wheelchair or a walker. It doesn't faze to her that this person is, may have a disability, that this is somebody that she can confront and she can befriend, and it's going to be somebody that she just finds enjoyable versus somebody different who didn't have that exposure growing up at a younger age, may have a different experience. And then for our older adults, from that perspective, also I practice what I preach. My grandfather, who is now 99 with dementia, went to our adult day program as well. So I had both ends of the spectrum coming with me to work every morning. I would drop my grandfather off and then drop my daughter off. But he is a World War II vet, and he was able to tell his stories to the younger generations, but also, more importantly, feel a sense of purpose. Like they're still able to contribute and to give back to our youth. And we have several other intergenerational programs where we're able to provide a platform for our older generations to share their stories and pass on their knowledge to our younger generations, with Sages and Seekers being one of them.
So just briefly on you, you are the CEO of a multi-million-dollar organization that has tens of employees and serves hundreds, if not thousands of people, a very vital public organization in Southern California. Did you start as CEO?
No.
What did you start as, Jenna?
So I've been with the organization for about 15 years. I started off as an intern for my undergrad program in social workers. And I just was hired on. I discovered that I wanted to work in the field of gerontology early on. When I was an undergrad student in social work, I knew that gerontology was my passion, and was hired on as a case manager and did that for many years, thinking I was going to go the clinical route, and then went on to grad school to get my MSW, and then left for a minute to pursue some clinical experience. And our former CEO had pulled me back in once a leadership position had opened up, because I was still volunteering within the organization. Came back as director, and then I got my feet wet with grant writing and program development and kind of the macro, bigger picture of the organization, and found that that was really something that I was passionate about. I am the one who likes to come with these wild and crazy ideas to our organization, and then bring it to our board and our leadership, and kind of see where it goes from there. So, and then in 2021, is when I took over as CEO. It's been about almost 2 years.
I just love that, because it just doesn't happen in America anymore. I mean, you don't come as an intern and then eventually become the CEO. To me, it's a sign of an organization that values young people and mentoring and tutoring and providing a pathway to success and to leadership. And the organization is richer for having that kind of ethic in it. So I'm glad you stuck around. Last one for me, and then we'll open it up for one or two from the vast online audience. And then I believe there's a reception, which is where we all want to get to, of course. But that woman at the end of the video, which I'm sure you know her name and her backstory and everything else that there is possibly to know. But she's the woman at the end of the video. She said that ONEgeneration contributed to making a better world. If everybody in this audience went home to their community and they built a one generation, how would that make a better world?
So that was a question I was given a little bit of time to think about. And after listening to a lot of the presentations today, I was jotting down some notes on how I can best answer this question, because it is a pretty big question. And these are just some ideas of what, if other communities had a similar organization like ONEgeneration, somebody who's able to, an organization that's able to meet the needs of their community, but also embed intergenerational practices to bridge that gap between the generations to create a better community for all. What would that look like? So just some thoughts that I put, a world of interconnected, supported systems that are embracing aging, empathy, a reduction in health disparities and access to care, our youth growing up in a community that values our elders, older adults who are always able to contribute and have a sense of purpose, and also, most importantly, communities that promote partnerships and collaborations that would organically create intergenerational shared sites for everyone to enjoy. So just some thoughts on that.
That's the world I'd like to live in.
Yeah.
Are there any questions? I can take one or two, or we can just make a beeline for the reception. No one? Not my vast online audience? One question from my influential and powerful online audience.
Well, a question from the moderator of the online audience.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Even better. Finally, you got a chance to find yourself here.
right, exactly, after all these days. So if ONEgeneration is such a duh idea, why aren't there more places like it?
I think I was talking to Donna about this earlier, but I think that we just all need to come to the realization that intergenerational connections are happening all the time within all the work that we do. And if we can just kind of make the realization that, oh, this is an intergenerational connection, let's embrace this activity that's happening and how can we build upon it and recognize its values and its benefits, then maybe we can grow it into something bigger. Obviously ONEgeneration and what we do did not happen overnight. This flourished into a volunteer-led senior center, into this community of interconnecting, ages and, demographics coming together. It took time, but it definitely started with the thought and a vision of, oh, this is already happening. So how can we build and grow upon it and let it flourish into what it is today?
I will add that, part of the reason there aren't more is because we're all guilty of not facilitating more of them, and funders are at the top of the list. The cliche is, we're all siloed, but we're all siloed, and there are senior funders and there are children's funders and arts funders, and never the twain shall meet, right? And so we have to get out of those boxes and try to figure out, even if you were only interested in serving, lower income seniors in the community in which she works, wouldn't you rather fund her program than one where seniors are just isolated and alone? And so, Mark Friedman uses this all the time to quote foster grandparents, but the motto is, every dollar spent twice. And so it just seems to me like there's an efficiency and effectiveness that we have to get out of these silos and figure out how can we bring about the most positive good for society and not worry about who is the first recipient of the dollar if there are external recipients, auxiliary recipients that come along with that. So I just think we all have to, I think there's an appetite for it. I think 11 years ago when we started doing this work, every conference that I went to, somebody, oftentimes me, stumbled over saying the word intergenerational. Now it's just flowing off people's tongues left and right like it's a completely normal thing. So I think it's a movement. I think it's coming. I think there is a big wave that's gray that has come to our society, and we have to figure out ways to embrace and harness those resources and put them to work to help at-risk kids. But it certainly is a duh idea to me, and I commend Jenna for running just what is a remarkable facility program organization in Southern California, and I invite you all to come visit her anytime you're in town. Don't contact me, just
please. I welcome
reach out to Jenna. So I'm going to wrap it up with there. Before I forget, The Eisner Prize is essentially $250,000. I want to give that to you, as well as a film and as well as an opportunity to meet these wonderful people here. But thank you again, Ken, for letting us come and present this prize here. And I'm sure someone smarter than me is going to wrap this up, but thank you all very much. And one big hand for ONEgeneration and Jenna Hauss.